Thanks for staying with us. Reports from South Africa allege that some Nigerian women are being forced to give birth on hospital floors after being denied proper care. A situation linked to rising xenophobia and groups like Operation Dudula. Some says it's a grave human rights violation and a disgrace to South Africa's democratic image, stressing that emergency health care should be available to all regardless of nationality. Defenders argue public hospitals are overstretched and must prioritize citizens, saying undocumented migrants should regularize their status or seek care at home. The controversy highlights a clash between protecting limited resources and upholding basic human rights. What are your thoughts on this? You can join the conversation and call us on 02016 352013 or 09024 163440 or tweet us at TVC Connect using the hashtag YourViewTVC. So I saw a viral video, you know, I think that was last week, and I also took it in the newspapers on Saturday. So in that viral video that I saw, this particular young man was calling out people who were seated in the hospital. If you're not from South Africa, stand up and leave this place.
Video.
Yes, you know, and then we had reports, you know, in the papers that they are now not giving treatments to people who are not South Africans. So it's not just Nigerians this time around. Even,
are you sure?
Yes, even according to the papers, even Botswanans, Zambians were all sent out of the hospital. And then in that report also, we heard that some Nigerian women were allowed to give birth on the floor. Some were sent back home, you know, without any proper care. And the question is, what is happening in South Africa again? We've had issues with South Africa over and over and how they have treated, you know, Nigerians and other African nationals in their country, and this is happening again. They are using the healthcare, you know, their healthcare system to also punish foreigners in their land. What is happening? What are your thoughts?
Okay, so what the key thing that I noticed from this write-up is undocumented migrants.
Migrants, okay.
Right?
Okay.
Anywhere in the world, if you go to America, even the UK, NHS, if you're not documented and you don't have an NHS number, nobody will attend to you, right? And if you are in a country and you're not documented, please buy insurance. There's a reason why before you go, when you want to get your visa to certain countries, before you go anywhere, they make sure that you have insurance that can cover for your medicals if something happens or something goes wrong. Because let's be realistic, this is their taxpayers' money that is meant for their people. Okay? And if they're saying that they're overstressed, and you're coming to their country, and you can see what's going on, and you can see that, you can foresee that, okay, I want to stay here. It's taking a while for my documents to get processed. And I know that I'm going to need, anything can happen. I might need medical care. I have children, or I'm pregnant. Why will you be pregnant for 9 months and you don't get insurance, knowing that you don't,
your papers are not,
it's not like the only place that allows things like that is like Canada, where even though you don't have your papers, they now have a system of midwifery and everything where you can register. Although some other people are paying for that. It's coming at a cost to, you know, different communities and contributions, and there's how they do it to fund that system, right? Where you can get care. But not every country is like that. So if you know your situation and you know the country you're going to, you should get insurance for yourself. If you have insurance, you'll be attended to. It's simple as that.
Okay, that's another angle.
Okay. So we're discussing this because we heard that women are being forced to have their babies on the floor, cold, bare floor. I mean, childbirth is sacred. You know that. And anywhere in the world, for me, this is just cruelty at its highest. There's nowhere in the world with whatever economic, harsh, whatever that is happening, that you have a woman in labor and there's an opportunity for her to be able to use the bed, and you ask that that woman to lie on the cold floor and give birth. It has nothing to do with insurance or not. There's so many countries that we know of. Nigerians get there, an emergency happens, they quickly attend to you because humanity first, for heaven's sakes. And what is worse for me in this case is that we're talking about another African country doing this to other Africans. Where is this conversation of African unity going to lead us if we have things like this? And South Africa is known so much for this sort of behavior. They have killed people, they have found ways, you know, just attacking other Africans, and now see where they are. You know, I've been reading this story and I've been waiting to hear what their government says. Are these government officials standing and asking other people to be treated this way? Or is it that some South Africans have taken it upon themselves to deal with other Africans? Because we've seen that, and we've seen how the South African government would separate itself from that behavior. But I haven't heard anything from the South African government.
Which they have done, actually. So this Dudula operations, they are saying is a group of people who gathered by themselves to do this. That it has nothing to do with the South African government.
So the South African government also understands that it's a cruelty. It has nothing to do with...
But we're waiting to see what they do to the Dudula operations guys to, you know, really show that we did not send you to do this. Go ahead.
So for me, it was important to put that out, because I hear Amaka about make sure you're documented, but there are some situations, emergency situations, having a child, you know, having a child, a woman in labor, and you put her through that when she could be giving birth. You know, she can have that baby and you hold her down for her proper documentation. She can have that baby and find a way to properly deport her if you think she does not have the right papers. But you put her through that cruelty. How is it that we act like this? I remember, I think a few months ago when NBA had their annual meetings that they do, this man, Julius Malema, we know him as a strong opposition leader in South Africa. He came to Nigeria. One of the things that he said is that xenophobia is a betrayal of African unity, right? And he's such a respected voice in his country. And I'm wondering how he is so different in his understanding of why it is important to act a certain way as Africans towards other Africans. And his people don't seem to get it. One of the things he said was that xenophobia is failure on government part and also poverty. So yes, they're going through issues, but the people that they seem to attack, because this is a country that also has white-skinned people in there, but the people that they choose to attack are their fellow black Africans. And it makes no sense to me. There has to be a serious mindset change or re-engineering or whatever it is, because we can't continue accepting this sort of behavior from South Africans. We have them in many other African countries, and I've never heard South Africans in other African countries coming out to say that they've been treated, you know, cruelly the way that South Africans are behaving. They have to do something, or else I feel that other African nations are going to just separate themselves from South Africa, and then let them deal with their country on their own as a singular entity, and let them see how that will work out for them.
So South Africa, they don't see themselves as part of Africa. That's what I think. They don't see themselves.
They're heavenly.
Because, So, but I saw that video. The first thing that came to my mind, there was that video that you're talking about, because the guy came into the clinic and he was like, if you're not South African, stand up and leave. Stand up and leave. And there was a lady there. She was pregnant and she was limping. And he went there and he asked her, are you South African? She said no. He said, stand up. And she got up. You know, somebody brought her to the hospital. They held her and they were carrying her out. And I was like, this guy, is he seeing the pain this woman is going through? And he, you know, they didn't care, because he was there with 2 other ladies. They were all there, and then, you know, telling them to leave, everything. And they had to leave. This South Africa and Nigeria issue has been going on for a very long time. Where this thing is coming from, I have no idea. But, you know, I'm wondering how Africa is going to move forward without that unity. And if you are saying that it's from poverty and other African countries are going through same thing. We're all going through poverty. We're all going through whatever it is they are going through. But we are not behaving like that to people. You can't come to Nigeria and then we'll treat you like that. We don't treat people who are not. In fact, the way we are so welcome, we welcome you.
Black and white is the same.
I'm telling you.
We even worship the white.
I'm telling you. So, but when you go to every time South Africa has one issue or the other with Nigerians.
Let me add something. They also said that this particular group, the Dudula operations, are threatening that by next year they will stop foreigners, including Nigerians, from attending public schools. Okay, so it's starting from the hospitals. It's trickling down to other aspects of their...
So it's time for all the African leaders to come together.
So
and make stringent policies that will favor Africans, because now look at all the Western countries. They are doing very well. They are moving forward together collectively. If we don't do that now, I don't know when we are going to, instead of every time fighting.
So I understand the issue of xenophobia, and you know, and I'm totally against it and everything that comes with it. But then let's also look within. We in Nigeria, we've sat on this table and we're still having that same issue, and that same issue has not been solved till tomorrow. where even a pregnant woman will go to a hospital in Nigeria that is about to give birth. They will say, if you've not deposited a certain amount of money, nobody will attend to you. Okay. It is still the reality. And then we sit down on this table, right? And this is the same Nigeria to Nigerians, where hospitals don't attend to you if you don't make a deposit. That is because it's a business. Even if you want to look at it from the business perspective and from the human angle, within our own country, it's happening as I speak right now, it's happening in different hospitals. That's the Nigerians to Nigerians. So let's be factual, let's be realistic about certain things. If you go to a country and you're pregnant, you have 9 months to plan for your pregnancy, and you can see what's going on in that country against undocumented migrants, to figure out how to, as a what will happen when you get to that point, whether it's to save for insurance, whether there's a community of midwifery that can help. You have to take care of yourself. As you can see that the government of South Africa is not going to help you. So what next? You can't keep having the same issue over and over again and expect a different result. No.
So Amaka, I've always been of the view that for you to relocate, you must make your plans properly. I don't believe that people should just up and go without, making sure that everything has been sorted. So you don't go to another man's country and become a burden, right? And we have also said that when you travel and you're relocating, the first thing you do is to find a Nigerian embassy and register. We're not shouting that enough here, which I think the government even here needs to take up, advocacy of. Once you get into a country you are relocating, please find a Nigerian embassy. Go to a website where you see their addresses of Nigerian embassies in different countries and register so that they know that you're present. Then make sure that your documentation is complete. The ones that have not completed, the embassy, with the help of the embassy, they can sort it and ratify it for you. So that when issues like this come up, we have a legal standing to say you cannot treat our citizens like this because this person did not come through the back door, right? But many a times what we see is many Nigerians travel for whatever reason and they are not able to get their proper papers, and it gives room for such behaviors of those countries that they found themselves. It's not an excuse for bad behavior. It's not an excuse that you allow a pregnant woman to deliver on the floor. That's wickedness of the highest order. But aside from the pregnancy thing, when they are dealing with undocumented people, and they are saying that they have scarce resources to even attend to their own people, we should also understand where they are coming from, that they need to find ways to make sure that their own treatment is made for their own persons. Remember, there was a time in the UK where they were shouting that immigrants are taking up their hospital spaces. Aside from their jobs, they are using up their taxpayers' money to treat them, and they are saying we can no longer do that. But how can we save ourselves this sort of embarrassment when we are planning to travel? What do you think our government can do for us in terms of maybe diplomacy to see how this matter in South Africa can be resolved before it gets out of hand?
So looking at this, many things can exist, and concurrently. We have Nigerians who travel and they are properly documented and they do what they need to do. We have people all over the world who go into other countries undocumented. Every time we take stories of Nigerians trying to find their way to Europe through Libya, and we know the story. So we know that there are some people who get to places undocumented and they try and live below the radar so they don't get caught until issues like having to go to the hospital or education or whatever comes up. Now, that's a fact. But another fact is treating people the way they should be. That South Africa is always in the news for. That xenophobic behavior. And one thing with whether you're documented or not documented, with xenophobia, it does not care. It just says this group of people are a problem, and so whether you're documented or undocumented, you'll be treated badly. So it's not a proper government policy, because in countries where they have proper government policies on undocumented residents or citizens in their country, they pack them and they deport them. America is deporting people because you're undocumented. It will send ICE to your doorstep, and they will look. You too yourself, you're undocumented. But also when you find yourself in situations of emergency, you're treated well. You're treated as a human being. Forget well. This is a human being. And then after, we'll deal with you. And that is all we're asking of South Africa. It is too... South Africa cannot even hide from this. There's no there's no excuse. Yes, oh, resources are stretched. We hear you, but we also know that just naturally, this is how you have always responded to other Africans. You have blamed other Africans for all the issues that you have in your country. Your leaders have said our government, our leaders in government are not doing what they are meant to do. There's a scarcity of employment in our country because our government is not doing the right thing. But the people turn around and look for the scapegoat. That's what this xenophobia is. You're looking for the scapegoat. There are different ways to address the issues that's affecting South Africa. Address it that way. And our government is wherever Nigerians are, protect them. Whether they are documented or undocumented. We see Abike Jabri all the time. These people who are trying to find their ways, when they get in trouble, they say shout and scream. And we show up. And then people are going to respect us wherever we find ourselves. That's why in Americans, they know wherever they go, if they cry like this, America will send all sorts of whatever to protect them. It's a show of strength. You know, you don't treat our citizens anyhow. Then when you come home, we'll not deal with you. Look at recently, some group of Chinese nationals were arrested for all sorts of behavior. They said they should just send them back to the country. If it was the other way around, would they just send them back for drug offenses? We just arrested them and we're meant to just send them back.
Have we sent them back?
That was the plan. So I don't know. But if it happened to Nigerians anywhere else,
who will send who back?
Do you understand? So we need to be able to protect our people wherever.
Your final thoughts.
Can I add something? So what I wanted to add is that, you know, necessarily this is for people who are living in South Africa. What if I travel to South Africa for just 2 weeks and I fall ill? Is this how they are going to treat me? Do you understand? Do you not start saying I should look for insurance and everything? I'm not expecting to fall ill within that 2 weeks. And maybe I travel there and then I accidentally fall ill. Is this how they are going to treat me? Please, they need to do better. So and this envy between Nigerians and South Africa needs to stop.
So let me answer you. And like you said, what can the government do? Is that before you travel to any country, before you go on holiday anywhere, your mindset, as you're planning your ticket and everything, you also plan for exigencies. Let's be factual. You have to plan for, nobody knows. You can have food poisoning. You're going somewhere you don't, anything can happen. And that's why you find out that most visa requirements include insurance. Even if it's a 3 months insurance, or they'll tell you to buy insurance for the time frame, that 1 month that you're going to be there. You cannot, because it's irresponsible on your part that you're going somewhere and you're not considering if something happens. You leave yourself to chance. And then you're not. I'm coming. And then when something happens, you're not. When something happens, they're not telling stories before you not get compensation on what. Everything don't spoil. The responsibility is on you to ensure that when you're leaving your country, you're going to a foreign land, that you protect yourself for exigency. Anything can happen.
Amaka, I get you properly, but you know what we're talking about is how South Africans actually treat other. No, I get it. Yes, actually treat other people, and we're calling on our government. The government needs to whether deploy the diplomacy or have conversations. Let's actually find out what's going on. South African government has distanced themselves from this Dudula operation. They are calling them criminals, and they are promising they are going to be cracked down. But we need to follow up to see how this happens, and then a mindset change for South Africans. The first time I passed there was not a pleasant experience. Being a Nigerian passing that place, not a pleasant experience. They have this bad reputation already on how they treat fellow Africans. That has got to change. Thank you so much, ladies, for a wonderful Monday. We started the week on high notes, and we're going to be back again tomorrow. That's all we can take on the show today. We'll see you again tomorrow. Do enjoy the rest of your day. Bye-bye now.